Hi, welcome to 49 Going on Dead. My name's Tharsis, and I am a 49-year-old aging goth on an absurd mission to deal with my depression through exercise, as advised by my therapist. It is literally the crack of dawn, just so you know. Okay, well, it's been 2 weeks since this ride. I've totally been procrastinating on the voiceover. Here are my little friends up to their own thing as I turn the bike around. I've got the room now that I don't have to hang the bike up in the storage room every time, so it just lives in the hall, leaning up against the wall, which is much more convenient. Not that it matters right now, because I haven't been out on a ride since this one. This was a very long ride. I'm actually running this ride part at a little over 2.5 times normal speed, because it's actually almost an hour if I ran it at normal speed, and no one wants to listen to me ramble for an hour. This was my successful, finally, attempt at getting out to the Musqueam Cultural Center, with the intent of seeing how hard it was so that I could potentially ride my bike out to our staff retreat that was going to be there a week after this ride, which was actually the past Monday now. And of course it was a rainy day when the actual staff retreat happened, so I didn't ride my bike out for that. But anyway, I did make it out here on this ride. So the first part, we're just, covering ground that I've covered several times before. My least favorite part of Marine here with the traffic, where I will bail off onto the sidewalk to avoid that. And as I am wont to do. Anyway, so also occurring in the intervening time between this ride, which was on the 12th, and today, which is 2 weeks later, I had my 7th wedding anniversary that I spent alone. My 1 month anniversary of my wife moving out, which I spent alone, and which also coincided same day with the 3rd anniversary of my mother's death, which made that an especially charming day, where I really didn't want to do anything. I avoided the internet, and just, you talk to the therapist, you talk to people, they tell you what to do, they give you the suggestions, but not everything, one size does not fit all. This has to be borne in mind. One of my coping strategies that always did work, that I let fall by the wayside, was just time to myself. Even as a teenager, I'd come home from school, and after a day of being around people, I'd need at least half an hour just to chill and basically meditate, and before I wanted to do anything, but that's important and rarely talked about, because there seems to be some, general idea that you gotta get out there all the time. No, you don't. I'm not sure what to say at this point. Well, 3rd anniversary of my mother's death. That was a hell of a thing. One of the things that's been coming up in therapy, and I've been talking about therapy, and it's almost a cliche, but talking about my parents, and it's a cliche for a reason, because there's probably no one on the planet who has not been messed up by their parents. That's not
My mother?
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my mother.
Anyway, riding out here, this was all very much easier than I thought it was going to be. You can see how downhill it is, and that I'm going faster than the traffic, which is kind of hilarious. I will get to a point where I pay attention to some of the cars that I passed, and they will pass me again. Oh, look, I'm signaling and pulling out into traffic. That's something I don't think I could have done when I started doing this. Now, I'm in the Southlands here, and this area, down at the end of the road here is the Southlands Riding Club, and I'm just going to turn off away from that because that's a dead-end street. But it's freaking nice down here. Okay, adjust the camera. This is probably the only really kind of rural chunk left in Vancouver, and it's there's it sounds like it would be awful, but it's not. There's this big smell of horse manure in this whole area, and you see all the gravel on the side of the road. It's hard to see because I'm running it fast, but there's a track down the middle of hoof marks, and you can see I just rode past some manure on the road, and there's some more right there, because people ride horses around here, and these great big estates. There's more than a house with a yard. Like, these places are huge houses with huge grounds, and it seems like it's a forgotten corner of Vancouver. I'm going to say it because okay, here we are. On the other side of this ditch is the second golf course, not the one that I tried to cut through, but another one that I have to get around, which is why I'm cutting through here, because there is a path down by the river that I can get through. And down here, the one for sale sign that I saw in this area was not, quite unusually for the west side, was not one of the same 6 criminals from New Coast Realty, and all the letters on the sign were in the Latin alphabet. Let's put it that way. Okay, so now cutting off around the golf course. Very briefly, at the opening to the path, there was a sign on the right which said something about this being reserved for people from the Southlands Riding Club, and given the number of people walking dogs that I run into along here, that's clearly widely ignored. Yeah, those trees there, that I'm just going to stop here for a second. Those trees, there's a little boat that I've seen several times. We seem to be on very much the same schedule. Those trees, that's pretty much the destination. Those are, the Musqueam Cultural Center is just near those trees there. So here's one of the dog walkers, and as I'm approaching the reserve and the divider between the reserve, I did stop for a second to talk with her to see, because clearly she walks her dog down here all the time and knows the path, and I was just wondering if she knew about any way across the creek slash ditch. It is a creek, it is an actual creek, but it's been straightened into a ditch, and it divides the golf course on the right here with the Indian Reserve on the left. But she said there's no apparent way that any path across that creek is gone. There did seem to be one at the bottom through a bunch of blackberry brambles, but it didn't seem like something I could easily take a bike through, so I decided that to get to the cultural center it would be easier just to ride up here, go around where the street does have a crossing. More dog walkers, where the street does have a crossing at 51st. And dashounds, I love dashounds. I told them that as I went by. They're the most cat-like of dogs. So anyway, here's one of the entrances to the reserve, and basically I've made it. The distance I just traveled there up that path by the ditch, and basically all I'd have to do is turn left, which I didn't, and head back down, and I'd be where I wanted to be. Super easy. Now comes the hard part. This was significantly more downhill than I was expecting to get here. So now I have to climb back up and turn here, and yeah, you can see from the distance the height of the hill that I've got to climb to get back to Marine Drive. I'm going to try zigzagging through this neighborhood, and so I don't have to climb it all at once, but it doesn't really help much. And down at the end of the street here, you see that steam, that sort of fog rising? That's actually, literally, you'll see it on the left, there it is, a steaming pile of shit. Someone was getting fresh manure spread on their yard, and a literal steaming pile of shit by the side of the road. This is a very difficult hill. I'm running at 2.5 times speed, and this is still looking slow. I'm barely making it up here. I haven't dismounted to point that out, and I do make it up to the top of the hill without dismounting, but at this point you can tell by the wobbles and the lack of speed that I'm standing up and shifting my weight from one pedal to the other and just barely making it, and it's like, good, okay, done it. And this climb part, this makes this whole ride in and of itself roughly equivalent to what it would take for me to get out to work, because if I had kept going without turning off into the Southlands and stayed on Marine and gone all the way through the park, the distance is about the same. It's just a hair longer to get to work. And the amount of climbing, which I now have to do, right now I'm obviously going downhill since I'm going faster than traffic, but that ends very soon. The amount of climbing I have to do is also roughly equivalent to what I would have to do to get up through the Pacific Spirit Park that surrounds UBC and get out to the point. So yeah, we're back to climbing, and the bike path disappears, which is not cool. I've got just a hair of a curve to deal with and a lot of trucks on my left. I'm not really enjoying this part at all, which also puts a damper on the idea of riding my bike to work, because until maybe after next summer when they fix this all up and there's bike paths like what I'm on right now, which is nice and wide and divided, which the intent, they had the road closed all summer this summer, and the plan is to close it all summer next summer, so that both sides will be flanked by proper bike lanes, and that facilitates riding my bike to work as well. So I don't know. It's like I said, this was 2 weeks ago, and I haven't really had an opportunity to go out on the bike since, because the rain has started. I mean, it's late October, and when it does clear, it's maybe I had to stop there for a little bit. The climb was starting to get to me. Tharsis, my cat, Tharsis, he has things to say. He's in the video too, so he gets his voiceover section as well. Apparently he has a lot of things to say. Yeah, indeed. So, riding an hour out to work. But it takes, if I can get adept at this and do it so that I'm not exhausted at the end, and sweaty. I don't want to be too sweaty. I don't, who wants to show up to work all sweaty? Certainly not me. But time-wise, it actually takes about the same amount of time as the bus. So there's something to riding the bike around. But yeah, it's the rain has started, and I'm not inclined to go out in the rain for. I've mentioned before, I don't want the bike to rust. My lovely 45-pound, 22-kilogram steel bike. But there's also the fact that I wear glasses, and you can't see shit in the rain when you have rain on your glasses. When I was a kid, I always envied, I saw a picture of Elton John with a pair of glasses with windshield wipers on them. I always wanted those for riding my bike to school when I was a kid. But yeah, not being able to see, and my eyes aren't what they used to be, so I really, taking my limited vision and limiting it further probably isn't wise either, rust issues aside. So yes, I will remain a fair weather biker, because that's just the way it's going to be. So, and slow down here. There's where the railroad tracks used to be. There's a trail there, and I'm going to have to investigate that at some point when the opportunity arises. The other thing is as winter approaches, when it is, the rare clear day in the next few months is also likely to be frosty, which I'm not enthusiastic about. My hands got quite cold on this trip. It was a bit chilly when I left, and especially as I was scooting down that hill, passing all the traffic, my hands got cold. So gloves, if I do go out in the cold, must remember to wear gloves, because something I'd forgotten about from riding my bike to school as a kid and everything. Of course my hands get cold. So we're almost back to the wretched hole that I'm trying to make my own. There were other things I thought about talking about in this, but I'm keeping it short. I thought I'd say a few things about my mother. I thought I'd talk a little bit more about what's going on in therapy and how I feel about the state of my marriage. So, even if I hadn't sped this up, I probably could have talked for an hour. But I find it unlikely that anyone would want to listen to it. So anyway, here I am, back home again.
Watch out for the water.
Must get lonely here, Chad.
Not really. Now. Oh. Yoo-hoo! Home again.
Home again, diggity dig. Good evening, Dad.
Evening, fellas.